All right, along with Todd Wright, I'm Jason Powers. Todd, training camp is here. We are in pads finally. Give me a thought or two. Can Baker Mayfield lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a Super Bowl?
Well, if we're talking if Baker Mayfield is a Super Bowl quarterback, I just did a podcast about how the Bucs Raiders Super Bowl, Jason, was the last one where both participating teams were led by quarterbacks they didn't draft. 20 Super Bowls have been played since Brad Johnson led the Bucs over Rich Gannon and the Raiders. You know, I don't consider the quarterback position of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a weakness. Sure, there are quarterbacks I'd rather have if we had an expansion draft or if this is fantasy football, but you could do a lot worse. And the Buccaneers certainly know that. My biggest concern is less about Baker Mayfield leading the Buccaneers to a Super Bowl, as it is, can the Buccaneers significantly improve on the league's worst rushing attack to keep defenses honest against Baker Mayfield? And the fact that Todd Bowles, for all that he did do at the end of last year and winning a playoff game and being competitive in the defensive round or in the divisional round, he's still a head coach with a defensive background, Jason. You know, the Pete Carrolls and the Bill Belichicks that are head coaches with defensive backgrounds that have gone to Super Bowls are no longer employed with those teams. It's head coaches who have offensive backgrounds and work with the quarterbacks. So it's those areas I'm more concerned about with Bucs and Super Bowl than Baker Mayfield.
I'm with you. I think Baker's capable, but I think he has to be a point guard kind of guy on this team. If we expect him to be the number one guy, the lead dog, that's not going to be an effective way to move about this process. You make a great point about the running game. I think the Buccaneers have to be in the top half of the league in the running department this year if they want to be Super Bowl competitive. I think Liam Cohen coming in with the Rams, 49ers kind of offensive background, a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, a lot of misdirection stuff. I think that's going to help Baker Mayfield. They have plenty of weapons on offense. Evans, Godwin, a good running back core, an improved offensive line. They've invested into the offensive line even further with the drafting of Barton out of Duke. So I think that part's going to be a better, but can they keep the attempts under 30 to 35 attempts per game? Because if Baker Mayfield's dropping back 40 times a game, I think the Bucs are going to be in trouble and not going to be Super Bowl capable. And here's the other thing about Baker and the Bucs. I think the NFC is much more winnable than the AFC crop of quarterbacks. If you look in the NFC, you got Jordan Love, you got Dak Prescott, some other guys, but in the AFC, it is loaded. So I think the NFC is winnable. And here's a question I would pose to everybody. Can Baker Mayfield be Brock Purdy? I think if Baker Mayfield could be Brock Purdy, very similar stature, about 6 feet tall, not the most athletically gifted guys in the world. If Baker Mayfield can be Brock Purdy, be a distributor, hit all the gimmies, and hit all the layups, I think the Buccaneers will have a chance to be a Super Bowl team with an improved defense in Todd Bowles. For Todd Wright, I'm Jason Powers. Back to the studio.